Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to go over the Judgment and my first impressions. I got a chance to play them today, played them for about 4 hours straight. I was just testing against bots just for mechanics and stuff like that, but I can definitely say this is going to be one of the strongest killers in the game if they release in the current state that they're in right now, which they may not. It's PTB, who knows? But as it stands right now, this killer is absolutely awesome. They're super fun to play. Their skill ceiling is it's possibly the hardest killer in the game to master, other than maybe Springtrap, who could technically be the best killer with like tool-assisted orbitals and shit like that. But in terms of like realistic skill ceilings, this is one of the highest skill ceilings in the game, which I like. Now, the community might not like that, and this is a community design killer. I don't see this killer being enjoyed by a lot of players because it's very hard to play. This killer is very difficult. You have to do things that are just unlike anything else. So I'll give you a very quick rundown of how the power works. So basically, you charge out this line that goes in a straight line, but it doesn't have an active hitbox for about a second after you shoot it. So you can't just hit people right in front of you. So if you want to hit people that are right in front of you, you sort of have to like draw a line towards them. That means I need to spawn it further away. Okay. Which can be very difficult because you have to gauge exactly how far away they are, aim it away from them, and then quickly aim it directly back at them. But at the time that you're not looking at them anymore, they might have moved slightly, or they're juking you, or they've left the loop. It's difficult. Hitting people at close range with this power is extremely, extremely difficult. There is one exception, though, and this is one of the key talking points I want to go over. When you are in the empowered mode, you're in this empowered mode whenever you exile somebody, and you exile someone by hooking them, by pressing control on them on the ground when they are hit by your power and then, inevitably down by your power. When you are powered up, you have this ability to hit people at close range by basically doing this 180. You can shoot your power away from you, turn around, and then hit them. This will allow you to actually hit people at close range. Now, the reason you can only do this when you're empowered is because in the regular form of your power, once the power is shot out, you cannot control it at all. It just goes in the line that you drew, and that's it. When you're in your empowered form, for about a half a second, kind of like how Hillbilly can curve right at the beginning of his power, for about a half a second when you're in the empowered form, you can actually change it. So you aim away from them, quickly flick back, and then the active hitbox starts away from you, but then travels backwards towards you. So then by the time that second is up and the hitbox become active, then it's right on top of them. This basically enables you to hit people at close range when normally it's extreme. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very difficult to hit people at close range. So this ability to 180 the power is what makes this killer so incredibly strong, because they have one glaring weakness, and it's they are very weak at close range. And most chases are, around a loop are going to be close range. If your killer is shitty at close range, then your killer is probably just shitty. But with that ability to 180 it actually negates that weakness to the point that they're very good. So here is the kicker of whether or not this killer is going to be very strong. It's going to come down to whether or not this is an intentional thing. I think it's intentional. It fully obeys the laws of how this killer's power is designed. It sets a starting point. It can be moved for a half a second after you set it out, and it will go to where you're aiming. So you aim it away from you, turn somewhere else, it's going to go to where you're aiming. It seems to obey the laws of how the killer is designed. Now, I don't know if they're going to go back on this or whatever because they think it's cheap or something. It's also not particularly easy to do because you have to aim away. You have to look away from the person you're aiming at and then quickly flick back onto where they are. On controller, this will be basically impossible. Even on PC, though, it's not like a guaranteed thing. It's you lose sight of them while you're turning away, and they have to turn back. It's not like a free thing. So I'm really hoping this is an intentional thing you can do, and if so, this killer will be like probably top 5 killers. Extremely strong. If they remove that ability, this killer gets a lot worse. Not terrible, but becomes kind of like low B tier in my opinion, because that is the one giant weakness that the killer has, the inability to really hit people at very close ranges. Now, like I said, if you're at medium range, you can still hit people with the power. You kind of have to like back up from the loop a little bit, and then you got to do some crazy trigonometry shit in order to hit it, but you can do it. It's just a lot easier to react to because the survivors can see you backing up from the loop and basically readying this triangle that you're about to do, and it's a lot more reactable, but it's possible. It's just hard. So The add-on design on this killer is also extremely good. He has a lot of absolutely crazy add-ons. He's got an add-on that allows you to have your power bounce off walls instead of going through them. All right, check this out. Bank shot, left pocket. Insane. Oh, that's a stupid add-on. Here we go, bouncing off this. Oh my god, the double hit. Oh my god, it's actually the greatest add-on of all time. Can he hit the triple? No. Oh! He's got add-ons that make you move faster while holding it, but then you recover slower. He's got add-ons that allow you to send it in a straight line, then recall it back to you in a straight line. The add-on design for this killer is actually really good. It's not just the boring standard 2% faster, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of just things that completely change how the killer plays entirely. One of them basically gives you pain resonance on a perk. There's just a lot of very unique aspects to the add-on design of this killer, which I have to compliment behavior for, because usually we just get very boring shit where it's just number tweaks and stuff like that. This is really good add-on design. Almost all of them change how the killer plays in some fundamental way, which is, I think, really how add-ons should work. Now, that does mean it's going to be a nightmare for new players to understand what the fuck is going on against this killer. This killer is a new player nightmare, playing as and playing against. It's funny that the community designed this, and then they designed it for half the player base to probably not even understand what the fuck is going on with this killer. It's really funny. Again, I love it. I love killers with high skill ceilings. That's what I want. I have something to aspire to. But this killer for new players is going to be a nightmare, in my opinion, because there's a lot of aspects to it as Survivor that are not clear. The entire exile mechanic in general, you don't know where the fuck you are. You're in Brazil all of a sudden, and then this killer is now having an add-on that makes the power come back to you, so you think that's how it works, but then next game they have the add-on that makes it bounce off walls, so then you think that's how it works, but then they have the add-on that makes them move really fast while holding the power, so you think that's how that works. Like, he has so many add-ons that just drastically change how he plays that, like I said, new player experience is going to be a fucking nightmare. And what we're going to have here is a Jason syndrome, where the kill rate for this killer, despite being hard to play, is going to be astronomical on release, because there's so many little differences that new players are just not going to learn quick enough. To their credit, understandably so, because there's a lot of shit going on here. And I think the skill floor of this killer is easier to achieve than it takes survivors to learn all of the things that he can do. Now, the skill ceiling is astronomical. So the difference between a regular player playing the Judgment and a master will be night and day. You'll be able to beat regular players on this killer all the time. Past like a month, when everyone learns how the killer works, it'll be completely fine. But if you go against someone that has mastered how this shit works, it's going to feel like Vecna 2 in terms of, like, very little agency on the survivor side. So that's what I'm kind of worried about there. But at the same time, mastering this killer is so hard that I feel like if you get to that point, you kind of deserve the win as killer. Like, it is almost impossible to be perfect with this killer. Even people that are, you know, the best players in the game, they are never going to completely master this killer. They're going to get close and be very deadly, but this killer skill ceiling is so high that I don't think anyone's going to ever realistically achieve it with any consistency. And in that, it becomes kind of balanced. So, yeah, a lot going on here, but the actual design of the killer is awesome. Learning how to play it has been awesome. The Mori is absolutely incredible. I love the Eldritch, you can't look at me or explode type shit. It's just really, really cool overall. I don't know if I dig the voice lines, but everything else is just very, very well done. First impressions of this killer are extremely high. This is not some, like, shill thing. I played against bots happily for 4 hours just trying to figure out how the power works. Again, probably a really bad thing for half the player base that's not going to be able to get good enough at this killer to enjoy them. But for people that have a lot of time in the game, it feels like this was made for us, which is rare because that's not even who they should be making killers for. Financially speaking, that's really not who they should be making it for. They shouldn't be making it for the top 1% of players or anything like that. They should be making it playable for, you know, most people. And this killer is hard as fuck to understand to go against and hard to play, but super rewarding when you actually get it. So, yeah, I'm going to keep playing this on the PTB for the foreseeable future because there's so much to learn. Hopefully I can go against players tomorrow because, yeah, they did this weird, like, limited content creator only PTB thing that I didn't even know was a thing. So I woke up and it was basically over and then there was just no one to play with. So I'm hoping tomorrow I got some humans to play against. But yeah, first impressions of this killer for me personally are astronomically high. One of the most fun killers I've played in a very long time. So much so that I happily played for bots for 4 hours straight. So Very good first impressions. We'll see how they change it. If that 180 thing ends up not being intentional, it'll be a complete nosedive in terms of strength and stuff like that. So we'll see what they say about it. Very curious to see how this develops, but first impressions are fantastic.